Justin Allgaier qualifies JRM into the Daytona 500. The Fords turn on each other. Tonight, we react to a wild Daytona Duels. Plus, we give you our best bets for both the Xfinity and Truck Series races at Daytona Beach. All this and more. It's the Backroad coming right at you.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checker flag. That's all this race is.
Two from the States.
Going on, everybody? Happy Thursday night and happy bonus Backroad. This is the Backroad. It's In Between Media's NASCAR betting show, coming to you live after the used to be the Gatorade Duels at Daytona, not anymore. The dual races at Daytona, which set the starting lineup for the Daytona 500. My name's Elliot Hicks. With me is Seth Woolcock, and that's where we'll start tonight. Is with our post duels reaction. Good to be with you again tonight, Seth.
Elliot, it's only been one night of actual racing, and it was actually electric. You know, some great racing all around. Some surprise winners as well. Almost a shocking upset winner, but still just a great time to be here. Great time to break down both what we saw tonight in the Cup Series, and also we're going to share some bets for the Xfinity and Truck Series later on in the episode as well. So excited to get into it with you, man.
Yep, for sure. That's our plan for tonight. If you want to check out our Cup Series bets, we had that show last night with Rod Villagomez. You can go on our YouTube and check that out right now. We gave out our full Cup Series card. Of course, tonight we will talk about our thoughts on the duels, our thoughts on who could be players to watch now after we've seen a night of racing as well as a night of pole qualifying, and then talk about the Xfinity and Truck Series, which will no doubt be just as exciting. And we're breaking it all down and chatting it up in the IBT Racing Family Discord chat. Gives you access to our exclusive weekly betting model. Of course, you can see part of it in my bets article and things like that, but you get full access in the Discord. You can be in a chat with the three of us, myself, Seth, and Rod, as well as Ryan for My Fantasy Race, the real wizard behind a lot of our stats, as well as the rest of the IBT Racing family already in there. That also gives you entry into our giveaways, our infamous giveaways. We're going to start with a Ross Chastain autograph mini helmet starting next week. It's just $3.99 a month or $36 for the year. If you don't want to commit to the full year, it's only a handful of change. Skip a little cup of coffee. Skip a silly bet that one of us throws out that you don't want to put it on.
Guilty.
Skip some dumb shit that I said and don't bet on it, and join the IBT Racing fam instead.
Yeah, it's been fun over there, man. Tonight, our guy Trav was over there. He hit a big gainer. I believe it was a 15-1 ticket on Bubba Wallace. So that was great to see some winning ways continuing over there. Bubba Wallace ranked third in our model. That was something I had a little oversight on. We'll talk about that later. But some great discussion happening yesterday after qualifying too. Hey, what can we take away from this? What can we take away from practice? We're all about drawing from the new evidence, the new information we're given, and trying to put the pieces together of a winning betting card. And the Discord's been very helpful. Excited to give away the Ross Chastain helmet next week. And hey, we're going to see how well the betting model does. Kyle Busch, he was on top of it, spoiler, and didn't look great. But, you know, that's Daytona for you, Elliot.
Yeah, certainly didn't have the best duel tonight. Wasn't really a factor. Let's keep on chatting about tonight's Daytona Duels in the rear view. We'll start with the news everyone obviously wants to know from these duels. It's not just where does everybody start, but who are the open cars to make the race? Of course, Martin Truex Jr. And Jimmy Johnson were locked in on qualifying time. Justin Allgaier raced his way in duel number one. Corey LaJoie raced in duel number two. Elio Castroneves has to fall back on the open exemption provisional. Before we get into the races, a couple of notes from pole qualifying last night. Man, oh man, did Chase Briscoe absolutely smoke the field. Ran fastest in both rounds of qualifying. He's been mid-pack in average running position and finishes in the next gen, but has led the third most laps here in that era. Shout out Tampa Tim's from Dirty Mo for that stat. Earlier in the day, he was 28-1. I'm not sure what he'll pop out at as post-duel, but Briscoe certainly could be someone to look at. Maybe not the front row guys like we thought. They didn't end up on the front row, and I think Hendrick is honestly done winning poles every year too.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Chase Briscoe, feeling pretty good about some of the futures. I know you and I are both invested on him, and just seeing the speed he was able to bring out, that lap he put down, Elliot. I mean, we had gone, I mean, he was the last guy to go, right? We had gone through every single person, and Chase Briscoe comes out and doesn't even make it close, just smokes the field. So that was great to see. And of course, you had some of your usual suspects in that main group in qualifying two last night. You had the Cindrics, you had Joey Logano. You had a couple front row motorsports cars up there too, but Briscoe, hands down, the winner, and tonight plays it so smartly. Just drops out. Hey, getting a little wild up here, getting a little squirrely. I'm gonna jump out of here while I still can.
Yeah, the duels really, for the most part, follow the rule of thumb of if one is going to be crazy the whole time, the other is going to be calm the most time. We will start with the first duel race, though. The biggest thing for me, at least at the very start of the race, Christopher Bell and some other guys, a lot of teams are like, hey, we don't need practice. But we saw the 9 have issues pre-race. The 1 had issues pre-race. The 60 had issues pre-race. And the 38 cut down a tire on the third lap that probably wasn't from something laying on the track. May well have been something with that car. I think those extra practice laps are going to help these guys.
I always think more track time is better, right? It especially gives some of these newer, more novice stock car racers like Elio Castroneves a little bit more track time as well. But yeah, I mean, in this first duel specifically, you had guys like Chase Elliott, who was down pit road before we were getting going. Ross Chastain down pit road had to make his way back up. And the fun thing about these duels is both these guys were very much in the mix of it once they did get going. But more track time always better for the racing you're going to see in the featured product.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Daytona. Even if you had issues in the duels tonight, if you were locked into the race at least, it can certainly change. It's a long race. It doesn't work, though, for guys who weren't locked in. Chandler Smith in the 66 felt like in that first 10-lap stretch, he did what he needed to do. He was able to race that car that he put it on the record was not fast enough to make it in on time. He did what he had to do, but the Garage 66 MBM, still a lot of work to do there. Said that one of his digital mirrors was not working, so he cuts down to the low side. Is not clear, ends up junking himself, junking Justin Haley, and a couple of other guys. Castroneves involved in that as well. Not only does that suck that he doesn't make the 500, but I'm a little worried about his status for the truck race tomorrow night. He's been the favorite on the books earlier today. He was in the care center for a while tonight, said they were just doing x-rays and stuff, but I don't know. Sometimes those concussions can sneak up, and that was a hard hit for Chandler Smith as well as a few other guys in that wreck.
Yeah, after the interview, the Boyer and Harv were pretty certain that we would see Chandler Smith tomorrow, and we have seen these things pop up. And I don't know how much you've been involved in anything like taking a shot to the head or taking a big shot to the body, but it's usually like not right in the moment that you feel the worst. It's when you wake up the next day. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we do see a substitute situation going on for Chandler Smith. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate his mirror was not working as well. And, credit to him for owning up to junking his own car, junking a lot of other cars as well that didn't deserve to be. But at the same time, it just felt like an ill-advised move. I know these are split-second decisions. It's easy to sit here and armchair race a little bit. But at the same time, it felt like a very Chandler Smith-ish move to do that.
Yeah, I don't know that the 66 team will be inviting him back anytime soon, but hey, if you write the check, anyone can get in these cars.
Mike Wallace, baby. Mike Wallace, we need you, man. We need you more than ever.
Yeah, he's got to run a few races to do that this year. Elio Castroneves will certainly be glad that the OEP is a thing, but he had very little prep time, only a handful of laps in practice, handful of laps in the pack in the duel before getting crashed. I'm a little worried about him mid-race Sunday. Maybe a little something unfamiliar comes up and he ends up junking half the field. So that'll be something to worry about. Most of the rest of my notes are for the very end of the race. So if you have anything from the midpoint of the race that you wanted to touch on, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I am very nervous about Elio. I got a unit on him just to lead a lap. And I like the fact that he was going into with the mindset of, hey, I'm going to get behind Ross Chastain, a veteran super speedway driver. Of course, shit hits the fan and that goes out the window before they even touch the track. And he was kind of a sitting duck out there. But yeah, so I'm not feeling great about that. That's definitely something I'm going to look back on and maybe potentially with a little regret. I loved what I saw from Josh Berry towards the middle of this race too, Elliot, before he ends up kind of getting pushed out of there by some of these Toyotas that came up through the pack, but really liked what we saw out of him. Ryan Preece was another guy, showed a lot of speed. And then AJ Allmendinger, quietly, 8.5 average position for AJ Allmendinger. This guy had a lot of quality passes, was up front for a lot of the race too. I have a top just to lead a lap bet on AJ, and I'm feeling really good about that heading into Sunday.
Yeah, and that 16 honestly was a big help to the number 40 of Allgaier. He really had to do a lot of moving and shaking back there with the 56 and the 44 trying to make the race. It got a little sketchy. There were a few moves where I was like, Justin, and they even mentioned it on the broadcast. It's like he's thinking like you're in an Xfinity car where you have some of that freedom to kind of dip out of line and pass. That just does not exist in the next gen. So I was really worried there for that 40. He thinks like an Xfinity driver. Got a little sketchy, but he made it in. Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to have a car in the Daytona 500.
Let's go, baby. Yeah, put on the JRM polo in support for him, man. And I'll tell you what, like that team, they celebrated, and I'm sure there's going to be some infield beers going around tonight in the JRM camp, but they celebrated like they won the Daytona 500. You can see how much it meant to Dale, how much it meant to Kelly, this entire organization, the Allgaier family. I'm sure Kris Stapleton was somewhere with you, Elliot out there having a glass of Travelers himself. So such a cool moment. Like this is what Daytona Speed Weeks is all about. And for everyone who sits there on their couches and bitches and complains about like racing and these extra events like this is what it's about. So can we just enjoy it? Because this was one of the best moments. Like it was hard. I almost teared up for him at the end of that. It was awesome.
Man, as a Dale Jr. fan, obviously got to be excited for my guy, and I had the Traveler whiskey flowing and still a little bit left in the glass. We'll finish this off before the show here for sure. A little Traveler and Coke. But in terms of what's most impactful probably for Sunday, Bubba Wallace in the 23 did great running up front most of the race. He really showed tonight that he can win the big show.
I absolutely believe it. I mean, this is the guy who comes into the week. He was third in our betting model, right? So I was high on Bubba Wallace. I had the 22-1 outright that I placed back, I think, like mid-December. I also went 3 units down on him to lead a lap, which I'm feeling great about that too. And, I thought it was interesting, Elliot, because kind of in the post race, he was talking to Jamie McMurray and crew and I believe it was Josh. And, just said like he felt calm because he had his son before the race and like it kind of changed his attitude a little bit. I think it's been really cool. We've kind of watched Bubba Wallace grow up really like right before our eyes these last 8 or 10 years, and it's been beautiful to see. And I think we're seeing a more composed driver at the end. Like he didn't have to do anything crazy. He stayed with his guy. He made sure Reddick was behind him when he could, and then when Reddick was gone, hey, just stay the path, buddy.
Yep, keep it rolling. And it shows the 23. There's a little bit of worry because he's run up front here, but his only super speedway win, he was aided by the rain out at Talladega back in 21. Showed he can do the job. But
average position 5.9. Like he was up there all night and he started 15th. Like that's the impressive thing. He made his way up very, very quickly.
Made it up quickly for sure. Denny Hamlin did that in the second duel too as we transition into that. Toward the end of the race. He was toward the back. I was like, oh man, Denny Hamlin's kind of out of it. Maybe he shows a little super speedway life, ends up coming up to the front of the field there. The second duel, though, it really showed if one duel is going to be chaos, the other is going to be pretty calm. But it really does show that this fuel saving is going to make large swaths of this race on Sunday pretty boring to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was fun in that first duel because there was no fuel saving because just kind of how the cautions fell, right? And in the second duel, you're thinking, man, they look like they're going a little slow. Not a lot of action in those first 12 to 15 laps specifically. And then, they throw out the stats. Hey, they're running 3 miles per hour slower than they just were, So I think that's something we're going to see. It's part of the game now. I get it. I understand it. But yeah, it can create, not the most exciting, sense of racing and especially in an event that's supposed to be NASCAR Super Bowl. A little disappointing from that aspect, man.
Yeah. Once we did get those pit stops in though, the Fords kind of had control of the race with about 12, 13, 14 laps to go. We saw Chris Buescher and Austin Cindric making moves like it was the last lap of the race with 12 to go in the dual race, where especially Cindric, you don't want to tear up that car. He ends up working out with the 17, makes a big dumb block on him. They end up okay, but back in the field, Brad Keselowski gets junked. Alex Bowman gets junked. Daniel Suarez gets junked. Really messed up a lot of their days too. So for Buescher, you're going to make a big block. Ends up screwing over his teammate and team owner.
Yeah, you had him and Kez who, they're kind of like, hey, we're both going to one go high, one go low. Let's see what we can do. And just poor execution by him, honestly. Like, if you wanted to do that, just pit all 10 of them together. Like, that's what we saw the bottom line of Chevys and Toyotas do. Like, hey, if one of us goes, we're all coming down together. Ford, they said, hey, 10's too many. Let's split up. Let's go 4 here. Corey LaJoy, he goes with those Penske boys. And it looked like if Chris Buescher and Keselowski, Cole Custer also kind of in that mix of disruptors there, if they don't pull those moves, Elliot, it might be a Penske 1, 2, 3 finish. And, might not be the most exciting ending, but I had a little top 3 parlay out there on the Penske boys for both Logano and our guy Ryan Blaney to finish top 3. I was feeling pretty good about it for a minute, so that was an absolute bummer. But hats off, I think, to Austin Cindric, who goes out there, didn't even have to do this. He could have just taken a Chase Briscoe route, but this just shows like Penske drivers are going to be Penske drivers. They're going to look out for the boys, and I love that.
Yep, that's how it's always been with them. He ends up getting the win in the duel, but only after we all thought for 2 minutes that Erik Jones won the race because it was one of those extra close finishes. Jones was ahead at the line, but I didn't see the replay of that last lap wreck before we got on. I know SVG was involved in it. I don't know if he did something dumb or got hooked or something like that, as he's still learning how to super speedway race. But for me, it feels like I understand that the NASCAR officials, when they see big crashes happen, they want to throw the yellow as soon as they can to get the safety personnel as soon as they can. But every car that was racing, there were 7, 8, 9, 10 cars left that hadn't wrecked. They were all going to pass the finish line within 1 second of that crash happening. Why can you not just let them race back to the line?
Yeah.
Why do you have to have this shit where you think one guy wins, 2 minutes later you have to review all these frames, and in the moment when you throw the yellow, oh, it's this guy that's ahead. In a situation like that, if it's like last year's 500, they wreck toward the front and they have a whole lap to go. Throw the yellow whenever, wherever, doesn't matter. Completely understand. Everyone's going to finish this race in 1 second, and it's going to be okay. I just don't understand NASCAR officiating still cannot get their head out of their own ass, I feel like.
I mean, we have it here in the comments, right, from our guy Trav. Shout out to Trav. He's saying the France family should be on trial for war crimes for what they did against Erik Jones. I mean, that was crazy, man. Like, the guy standing down there on pit road and absolutely gets, just kind of, I don't want to say humiliated, but that's a shitty feeling. You thought you're going to.
Jones wasn't even on pit road. Jones was at the start finish line,
start finish,
out of his car, and thought he won. And to the point where they had them both kind of next to each other. And Cindric hears he wins. He goes up. He's like, "Oh shit, I won the duel!" Like it was wild. I mean, it's just been so often lately with that. Last year with Kligerman at the Roval, he's this damn close to the white flag. They throw a caution for a guy that's been stuck in the barrier for 20 seconds. It's just I just don't understand it. I get the thought process, but they just continue to bungle it at every turn that they can.
Yeah, man, and it sucks when it's an underdog story like Erik Jones because. You saw this drive from the back, a very furious one from this Legacy Motorsports team. And you said, oh, man, Jimmy Johnson, we're going to commercial break. It's Jimmy Johnson. It's Erik Jones going 1-2. And then it turns out Jimmy Johnson has to come down, pit by himself, go on pit road, go a lap down. Erik Jones loses his drafting partner. He goes towards the back as well. And then Erik Jones does everything in his power to kind of, make it up out of nowhere. I mean, think about like their strength in numbers when it comes to super speedway racing. The only Chevys that were really out there working with him at that point is you had SVG, you had Kyle Larson. Like that was really it at that standpoint. Suarez was in that mix. I guess Bowman was there, but before that happened as well. But just an absolute bummer for Erik Jones, who it feels like a couple weeks in a row, this guy's had a couple bad beats because just at the Clash a couple weeks ago as well, Elliot, he got clipped late and end up dumping him and ending his day as well.
Yeah, but we did see the Legacy cars have some speed. JHN really didn't get up there, but Jimmy and Erik Jones were up front a lot toward the end there. Jimmy with that the fuel issue, he got knocked out a little bit, but still in the race. We've got the projected starting lineup here unofficial. Jones at least gets the benefit of the starting position as if he had won because Briscoe and Cindric are on the front row. Wallace and Jones in row 2, William Byron, Chris Buescher, row 3, Ty Dillon. I forgot to mention him from the first duel because we skipped ahead. I thought that I was going to give all the praise in the world to Ty Dillon, and you still can because he ran a good qualifying lap. That 10 car clearly has some speed, and he ran pretty well up front. But then last lap of duel number 1 makes that move to the high line a little too fast, a little too late, ends up smacking his car into the wall, giving his team some unnecessary repairs to do. And very lucky that he didn't crash himself in a whole bunch of that field there on that last lap.
Yeah, that was That was extremely tough, man. It was a Ty Dillon type of situation, but the fact that he was up there racing with the boys and he looked fast yesterday in qualifying too. This is a guy who advanced to the final round, kind of got his ass smoked in the final round, but at the same time, we're seeing growth out of him. I think it's kind of good for him he's back working on the RCR campus. We know that the colleague building is attached to that, still a separate entity, but he's spending more time with the family business as well. So I think Ty is kind of coming back into his own a little bit. So that's been kind of exciting to see because it's been really tough 4, 5, 6 years to be a Ty Dillon fan, certainly. So yeah, 100% with you on that.
Yeah, he's back in a safe space now at Pop's campus. But like I said, with the lineup here, Briscoe, Cindric, Wallace, Jones, Byron Busher, Ty Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, Corey LaJoy, your top 12 here. A few who's who in terms of possible race winners and a few that maybe we're not quite expecting up there also.
Yeah, certainly. And that's what this type of racing brings, right? So looking at this, Elliot, do you have if you had to go back, if you had to say, hey, I don't have any bets down, I know we have a lot of them, so we're probably not getting overly invested again after these duels, but knowing what you know today, who do you think, who are you looking at? We don't have updated odds yet. We don't have numbers, but Austin Cindric's a guy that I was looking at very much so that this entire week, trying to find a way to bet him. I didn't, and I am regretting that. I really like him and Bubba Wallace right now. Those are two guys, sitting out front. We know that traditionally the top 5 wins this race. What do we say yesterday? I think it's right around that 50-ish% mark or so, something
close
like
to
that.
50. I remember the top 10 was about 63% too.
Yeah.
So in terms of those guys, and that is a lot of your favorites too. I think Briscoe, Cindric, Bubba will come out as 3 of the 6 or 7 favorites, if not even the top 3 or 4 once we get there. I feel like the books will still be high on Kyle Busch for no real reason. Busch is going to start all the way back 21st tomorrow. And a couple of these we'll start with the front runners here. I like all 3 of those. Wish I'd gotten invested more in those guys. I've got I think I've got Bubba Wallace and maybe a team bet. But other than that, not really a lot of.
You got the Toyota outright.
Toyota outright. That is true. That'll help. I feel like a Ty Dillon top 10, whatever that number would have been at before the qualifying and the duels, that would have been kind of nice to have.
I'm all right. I mean, you definitely get the closing line value on that. Don't get me wrong. That's CLV to the definition of it. But I'm all right missing out on a Ty Dillon top 10.
Yeah, Logano starting 10th. I feel like he'll be just as racy as he can be. LaJoy starting 12th. They'll be happy about that. I thought the whole second duel, what dumb thing is he going to do to cause him to crash and miss this race? Didn't do anything dumb there. I feel like he still gets caught up in some stuff. Allmendinger, you touched on earlier, going to start 13th. Mid-pack here, you got Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Austin Dillon, all in the mid-teens. All guys are going to start 19th. Larson back in 22nd. McDowell, 25th in Aspire debut. In this lineup here, Barry in the mid-20s, also Cody Ware, P28. I know you were on him, I think, for a top 10 as well.
Yeah.
We'll stick with that mid-pack before
lead lap finish. Let's not get crazy here.
Okay.
Lead lap finish, yes.
Gotcha. I didn't know quite how invested you were there. Guys who are starting at the back, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., P31 on Sunday. He really didn't have a good qualifying lap. I don't know if that Hayek car is going to have the speed there. Noah Gragson ended up toward the back of that second duel, ends up going to be starting 32nd.
He was up there for a second. He kind of poked his head up. Yeah.
Yep. Hocevar got caught in the back in duel number 1. Don't know what happened there. Keselowski, Suarez, Bowman, all going to start in the mid-30s after that crash. Justin Haley gets destroyed. He'll probably have to go to a backup car, start at the back anyway. Zane Smith back there also after his blown tire. And then we have Truex, Johnson, and Castroneves, who all had to fall back on their speed or the OEP. Glad they're all in the race. Glad that we didn't have a situation where Elio is in and one of Truex and Jimmy were not. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move forward here, I wanted to shout out a couple people in the chat tonight. We got our guy Marcus. He's excited. He's asking who everyone's pick is for the Daytona 500. Yeah, guys, comment down below. We're curious to hear you. If you're here in the live chat, let us know who your updated picks are for the 500. If you're watching this after the fact as well, let us know in the comments below. Who are you guys picking for the Daytona 500? We also got Gregory hanging out with us as well. Shouting out the 21. I like Josh Berry today, man. He was another guy, really, really good. 9.7 average running position. He was up there, kind of fell towards the back, got shuffled out, but that 21 looks good out front, man. It takes me back to the good old Trevor Bayne type days. You know what I mean? It feels like it belongs there a little bit.
Hell, I mean, before the Jones had the win taken away from him, it was the first win for the 43 in a duel since Richard Petty in 1977.
Wow.
So yeah, good numbers there. Barry going to end up starting 29th. He fell back, and Marcus's C Bell number 20 is going to start P20 come Sunday.
Okay. One more quick shout out before we keep it moving here into the bets, Elliot. Want to shout out our new back end producer, Nicolette, who's been doing an awesome job helping everything run here. Nicolette, how's everything going tonight? How are you enjoying the NASCAR buzz out there?
It's been good. Thank you for the shout outs. I'm very glad Bubba got day one first duels, and yeah, it's just kind of heating up. I'm also over at Fox, and we're going to be busy with that too. So it's really cool to see everything from afar. Rest in peace, Clash in LA, but in Fontana Speedway. But yeah, I'm really glad just seeing everything, and racing's is back, and then we got IndyCar coming up for us. So
that'll be big for Fox this year. Those commercials, shouting out those IndyCar drivers, have been super fun to watch, and certainly grateful for all your work with us and with Fox too, putting on a good production, especially for Daytona.
Of course.
Let's go, baby. Elliot, any other final kind of thoughts here on the duels before we wrap this up and before we jump into some Xfinity and truck bets? We didn't get to them last night. We had a lot of Daytona 500 bets, a lot of interesting markets we've kind of been mulling over the last few months. So any final thoughts here on the duels? Any final takeaways we can think and think about this handicapping wise?
My biggest takeaway, I don't feel terrible about a lot of the bets we made last night. I feel like a lot of them are still in a good shot here. Again, if you're interested in the Cup Series bets, you can go back on our YouTube, check out the show from last night where myself, Seth, and Rod all laid out a lot of our Daytona 500 cards. You can also hop in the IBT Racing family. I've got more Daytona bets. I'm going to be throwing them in there maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow at some point. We're going to lay out our full cards there and hop in. Just $3.99 a month is all we're asking there.
Dude, Ross Chastain mini helmet sign. We're giving it away next week to everyone who's in the Discord, everyone who's coming over to the IBT family.
You'll have a chance. You won't all get a helmet.
Yeah. Yes. Let's clarify that. But you will have a good chance. Right now, the odds are looking really good. There's a chance that you have at least a 10% shot of grabbing it. So you got a better shot of doing that than most of these drivers do of winning the Daytona 500. So again, link to the IBT Racing family. It's in the episode description. $3.99 for a month, $36 for the year. We're going to help you continue to win money on betting NASCAR and other forms of motorsports, because that's what we do here. We get knocked down and we keep on swinging. We keep on throwing darts. Elliot, what do you say, man? Anything else, or should we go ahead and jump into the Xfinity and Truck Series bets?
Oh, man, shout out Chumbawamba. We get knocked down, we get back up again. Yeah, we will take a look at the lower two series that'll race tomorrow and Saturday. We'll take a look at our Xfinity and truck bets and tonight's parking garage props. In terms of impressions on the books, it's neat that we got some unique markets for Xfinity and truck that we normally wouldn't get, I feel like, for most of those races. Same with Cup.
Yeah.
Books, go out there, give us these odds every week. We will continue giving you more money.
Yeah, it was tough because there's a lot of, top 10 parlays out there we were talking a little bit about last night. And it's just really tough to handicap these races, I felt, Elliot, because there are a lot of new faces and new places, right? And so much driver movement. You don't have a lot of, you know me, I'm going to live and die with the trends, right? And not a lot of trends we can take from last season because a lot of these competitors weren't in these series or in these exact teams that they're in. So it was interesting, hard to handicap. But I do appreciate kind of the overall offerings that we got from them. Although I would have loved a manufacturer bet for the Xfinity Series. I would have absolutely hammered Chevy, and I could not find it anywhere.
Yeah, and maybe that's why, because the odds on Chevy would have been crazy. Would have had one of my traditional call-outs for why the fuck is a manufacturer minus money. But maybe it'll be out there after we get the qualifying and stuff like that. We will start with Xfinity numbers and then move on to the Truck Series. I'm going to start with an Xfinity out right here. Sammy Smith at 20-1. Obviously, the first look you're going to look at is the RCR guys. Those numbers are unbettable for a super speedway. I saw Austin Hill anywhere from 3-1 plus 325.
Yep.
That's nuts. Jesse Love, I saw it around 7-1. That's even pretty crazy for a super speedway. The guy I like behind them is Sammy Smith, the most recent super speedway winner. He won Fall Talladega to advance himself in the playoffs. also had a P7 at Fall Atlanta last year. And not only do the stats back him up, but now he's got the power of that DEI number 8 font behind him.
Yeah.
If I can line my point up there. He's got that behind him. We're talking superstitions all the time here with the Kyle Busch 20 years thing and things like that.
Sure.
Dale Jr. had some pretty dominant runs in that number 8 Chance 2 DEI in Xfinity at Daytona. Won 4 times in the 8 car, including 3 straight back in the early 2000s. Vibes are good around the camp of Dale Earnhardt Jr. this weekend. Why not that beautiful 8 font that he finally got back from Teresa going to victory lane in its first chance?
Yeah, and honestly, dude, like I was looking at a way to potentially bet Sammy Smith. Not a big matchup guy on super speedways, but he was matched up against Brandon Jones, and I took a look, and Sammy Smith does have really good runs at super speedways this last year, at least, and he's one of these guys. I if I am betting someone in the Xfinity Series, I do have some confidence in him just because. Look, I trust him. I trust him, right? He's been with Junior Motorsports for some time now. He improved a lot towards the back half of the season, was able to work his way into the playoffs. And as you said, had some real success, won that Talladega race, was P7 at Atlanta as well. So I think you're onto something here. 20-1, not a bad number. Also, if you want to check him out, maybe in the top 5 market as well. Wouldn't have any disagreements at all with you on that one. Good call out.
Yeah, certainly don't mind that. I know you like the placement props in some of those lower markets. Other than the outrights, I've got one other Xfinity outright a little bit further down the board. Nick Sanchez moving up from the Truck Series to Xfinity in that big machine number 48. He is at 28-1 over on Caesars, the defending champ of this race in the Truck Series. Had some really good super speedway runs last year in that number 2 truck. P2 and P5 at Atlanta. Ran P7 at Dega. Has an ARCA win at Talladega as well. And this car runs pretty well on super speedways in general. Parker Kligerman in the 48 over the last couple of years for Big Machine, 7 top 10s at super speedways and come close to a couple of wins. Nick Sanchez, a guy that I feel like a lot of people are probably overall too high on. I've seen him higher than some drivers in the championship market, especially that I think are just way too high. But in terms of Daytona, I certainly don't mind this Nick Sanchez number at a 28-1 also.
Yeah, I don't hate this. It's like you're definitely on to something that he's good at Daytona, right? Like that's kind of his one of his trademark tracks. He's a guy who can win at different tracks. And you are right that like Parker Kligerman, I was always throwing something at Parker Kligerman every time. I mean, how many times was that Big Machine racing car? What alcohol did they have? What was it?
Big Machine vodka, the spiked.
Oh, it's what. Yeah.
Nice little white car.
Yeah, so I mean, I was always rooting for that son of a bitch to get in there, and I never really did. So I just feel like 28's a little bit of short for a guy making his first start in brand new equipment in a series he hasn't run full time before. That's my only qualm with it, but I totally understand with where you're coming from.
Hey, Daytona is the ultimate place of seeing upset winners. We've seen it in multiple series before, for sure. In terms of your placement props, I know you're not picking upset winners here, but there's a guy you've been way too high on, but I kind of don't hate this bet for sure if you're going to bet on this particular gentleman.
Yeah, so I'm going Harrison Burton, top 5, plus 360. I was actually talking to our guy, one of our IBT family racing members on the phone today, Bob Bodner, and he was giving Harrison Burton a little love in the outright market too. He's up 2-1, which I don't hate, but so look, man. Yes, I'm high on Harrison Burton. I got, a season championship bet on him. The equipment isn't great, but AM Racing in 2024, Deegan finished P12 at Dega. Lawless Allen finished P13 in Atlanta. I mean, Harrison Burton is 5 times the driver that these folks are. Nothing against Deegan or Lawless, but and at the same time, like HB, he's the most recent Daytona Cup winner, so he has some skill on this track. He's also 3 for 4. Finishing top 5 in Xfinity Daytona races. That's 75%, Elliot. His worst finish is also P9 at Daytona in Xfinity. He's raced Xfinity before. He's coming back here. I feel like this is kind of going to be, no, I don't want to call it like a John Hunter Nemechek year when he went back down to the trucks, but kind of similar. That's kind of what it feels like a little bit to me. And so I'm absolutely on Harrison Burton here for the top 5 at plus 360. He's like down to plus 230 at some other books. So I think DK slipping a little bit with the nearly 4-1 on him. I'll take him all day. Not going crazy with this. I only went about 0.6 of a unit. It's plus 360 for a reason, but I'll take my shot.
Yeah, especially with that number, DK being a lot better. I don't hate it. And my biggest problem with HB is not believing in the AM racing equipment, but it really is the great equalizer at a place like Daytona at the beginning of the year where not everyone is settled in yet. So go out there and take advantage. I had a similar argument for a bet that I ended up cutting from the show because I didn't have any coin on it in the trucks. It was Johnny Sauter and Caden Honeycutt, both to be top 5. And my argument was not only with Sauter's kind of out of his prime declining skill, but Caden Honeycutt with Nice equipment that is not quite as good anymore. Daytona is the great equalizer.
Yeah. We got our guy Bob in the chat saying, I like Harrison Burton. Giddy up, Bob. Good to see you back as well. Also saying Ekis looks good. Hey, that's Elliot's guy out there. I'm sure Elliot's going to find some way to get invested with him. Elliot's all about the truck guys coming up. So, yeah, give me a little HB. Elliot, anything else you have here in the placement prop market?
Yeah, so we've got a couple more top 5s to shout out. I'll start with mine. I'm going Parker Retzlaff at 5-1 to finish in the top 5. Moves over from Jordan Anderson Racing to Alpha Prime. Kind of an equal equipment move in my mind. He's been pretty good on the super speedways. Of course, the big story, Harrison Burton. He's been pushed by Parker Retzlaff. Ends up finishing 7th in that race up front at the end last summer in the Cup Series at Daytona. His Xfinity Daytona stats: 4 starts. Crashed out in the most recent one, but P4, P7, and P3 in the other 3. Top 5 in the Atlanta Spring Race last year, as well as a P7 back in 2023 at the Talladega Spring Race. Retzlaff is one of those guys. He's got the super speedway. He's got the super speedway edge. Again, one of those deals. The equipment's not quite as good everywhere else. You're going to take advantage of it at your super speedways. Retzlaff is a guy who clearly knows how to wheel it. One of those guys that is not going to go up there and probably get a lot of stage points. It may be going to be 27th, kind of disappeared middle of the race. I bet you when things shake out, that number 4 Alpha Prime car, you're going to look up there and be like, man, that Elliot Hicks on that back road, he had a point. That Retzlaff kid for a top 5 may not have been a bad bet after all.
I mean, at 5-1, why not? And my thoughts on Retzlaff, like, I absolutely believe in this kid's super speedway pedigree, because I remember going to Talladega last year in the Xfinity Series. We got top 10 odds for the first time, and I hammered him. I absolutely hammered him for a top 10 that day, and ended up getting wrecked out, but was sitting top 10 for most that day. So at 5-1, man, for a guy like Parker Retzlaff, who's done it in the Cup Series, keep that in mind. And also some bullshit money laundered type equipment. Like, this guy knows how to get it done.
Shout out Anthony Alfredo, crashed out at the end, did not qualify for the Daytona 500.
All right, Fast Pasta, we love you, buddy. We love you. He'll be back. We'll get it on him on Saturday.
Yeah, so man, if you think 5-1 is a good number for a top 5, you've got a hella big number on another one of these Xfinity guys for a T5.
Yeah, giddy the fuck up here. Kris Wright, top 5, 25-1 at DraftKings. This is sprinkle, 0.2 of a unit. I have less than an entire unit invested in this race just because we do have so many moving parts. It is Daytona. But this is a number that at other books is like 18-1. And Kris Wright, Western PA Bull, you and I know him very well, Elliot, know the story of this guy. Legit has like the highest odds of top 5 on DraftKings. And I just think that's way too high, in my opinion, honestly, man, because like Anthony Alfredo in this car, speaking of Alfredo, last year, Anthony Alfredo wheeled this car on multiple super speedways. He finished 24th at the first Daytona race, but he started P10, finished 7th at Atlanta, 3rd at Talladega, 26th at the other Daytona, but was P9. I remember I had a bet on him that day, and he was running top 5 a lot of that day. 14th at Atlanta 2, also started 13th at Daytona 2. So this is a guy who, coming into a new situation. I know it hasn't been a great NASCAR career for Kris Wright so far. He has never run a super speedway in Xfinity. However, his best track in the truck series is Daytona International Speedway. He's 3 for 3, finishing on the lead lap in the trucks, 17.7 average finish, better than any other track he's raced at. P12 in his first ever start back in the day as well. So give me some Kris Wright, 25-1. This is what this is about, right? Let's cheer on the local bull, see what he can do down there, down at the beach. Let's go.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's nice to root for the local guys. Shout out to Kris Wright. Sorry we didn't get to chat with you at Pocono when we were there last year. That story idea got scrapped, but certainly one of those guys that are fun to root for. A guy that generally, this is going to sound maybe more insulting than I mean it to, but he hasn't been an embarrassment. He's been a guy that's gone out there. He's paid his dues. He's running ARCA a bunch. He's running trucks a bunch. He's able to have the support to continue moving up the ladder. Like you said, the Our Motorsports car is not a complete piece of junk. Alfredo ran it to some good super speedway runs. Even if you thought it was a piece of junk, what have I been saying nonstop the last 10 minutes? If you have equipment that's not so good, Daytona is your great equalizer, and it's probably his best chance all year for a top 5 outright there.
Yeah, it just felt a little long. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he's the worst car out there, and that's what the books are treating him as.
Definitely
So we have a little
Definitely.
insider knowledge out here, living in the great state of Pennsylvania, the Keystone State,
That's
as
a
they
little-
say.
You act like we're best buddies with the guy. The insider knowledge just come because we kind of live in the same state as he does, man. I don't know.
Hey, we're drinking icy light right now from the rivers of Pittsburgh, the rivers this kid bathed in growing up, Elliot. So let's get behind Kris Wright here. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, hey, dude, you haven't.
You don't want to take a bath in these rivers in Pittsburgh.
You're telling me you're telling me you haven't walked your candy ass down to the feet of the Allegheny, dove in head first, and just enjoyed what the Berg has to offer. If that's the case, my friend, you are not living, because I've done it in the Susquehanna. Fantastic. Starts your day. Just try it. Just try it one time.
Yeah. Hey, the Susquehanna is a lot different than the Allegheny. Shout out my hometown, Catawissa, Pennsylvania, right through the Susquehanna River going out there.
People
I
are
got
gonna
one
like
more.
hate this show. Like, these guys gotta shut up about Pennsylvania.
No, but that's the beauty. Like, it's 11:10 p.m. Eastern. Nicolette out on the West Coast has a little more time in her day than we do. With the Traveler whiskey's been flowing. This is a reaction show. This is a bonus show. We're letting it flow. But we're also going with the bet still, of course. I got one more Xfinity placement prop. Ryan Sieg for the top 4 at 4-1. This was another one of those that I thought the line was just a little too long. There's not a lot of competition. There's 7 total Fords in this race, at least what I saw in this particular offering that Caesars had. The Haas pair, Creed and Mayer, as well as HB, they're going to be the main competition there. Sieg has been around the block a few times, and he's got some good super speedway stats to back it up. 4 top 5s, 9 top 10s career at Daytona. 3 of the last 4, P5, P6, P8, all very respectable. Talladega, of course, the most similar track. P2 there last fall, 6 career top 10s there. This is just a numbers game. Like I said, we've seen that he is on a competitive level. He'll be on the same level as Harrison Burton for sure. We're assuming that there's going to be a slight downgrade with the Haas cars, which will give Ryan Sieg an even better shot to really cement himself and become and continue to be a playoff caliber driver at the Xfinity level.
Yeah, it's a big year for Ryan Sieg, man. Like, he's someone who kind of always been a little bit underrated, almost got a couple W's last year, very, very close multiple times. So I was looking at some way to bet him as well. He was kind of a guy who popped out for me when I was doing my research prior to doing the handicapping for this race. So I don't hate this at all, man. I think Ryan Sieg's a good person to kind of keep in the back of your mind. And if you want a little bit more of a long shot, like, I think his top 5 number is like plus 225, not the longest out there. So a 4-1, and you only have to beat HB, which I'd be disappointed about, and I would think that's a little unfair. But aside from that, you only got to beat him, and the Haas guys are really the only guys I'm truly scared of. So
yeah, it's just one of those where you play the numbers game, and it looks a lot better than the 4-1 there. So I think that clears our card for Xfinity. If we're ready to move on to trucks, my card, again, a little heavier than that. So I can start off with a couple outrights here unless I'm missing something. No, it seems like we're good. For me in the truck series, they're up toward the top of the board, but I like them both. I'm going to start with Michael McDowell racing the 07 in the truck series. He's at 10-1 basically everywhere. He's only got 2 career truck starts, none since 2009, but it is incredibly obvious he's a wheelman on the super speedways. We talked about him multiple times as being a potential winner or top 5, top 10 guy. In that 71, he's running the 07. Spires trucks are pretty good. He's got the stats there: 8 Daytona top 10s, 2 at the New Atlanta, 4 at Talladega. We know he can run up front in the Cup Series, and it's good to test and develop his racecraft because he was a guy who ran his first half of his career basically in starting parks. He built up front row to the point where he could go out there and win a Daytona 500, and we know that he runs up front. My main point on McDowell last night was find a way to not just run up front, but to get the checkered flags. I feel like against these truck guys with the guy with the experience and the pedigree of McDowell, this feels like maybe the easiest truck series outright in the last 10 years in terms of, especially on, I'll narrow it down to super speedways because that's a lot of other races.
Yeah.
I like McDowell a lot. If it's not McDowell, though, it's going to be Justin Haley. He's racing the 7. He's at plus 1,100 there on Caesars. He's another super speedway wheelman. Absolutely dominated these tracks with Colleague when he was down there at the Xfinity level. 2 wins, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s at Daytona. 2 wins and a 5 for 5 top 10 rate at Talladega. had a pair of top 10s at the New Atlanta in 2023. And in the Cup Series, led 21 laps last summer in a wear car with 2 top 10s there for his career, both at Daytona and at Talladega, and 3 separate top 11 finishes at the New Atlanta. His only truck race here, he was the runner-up, and he has a 4th place at Talladega in the trucks as well. This is a kid who knows super speedways. These 2 trucks are good equipment. We know Spire can win races in trucks. We've seen Kyle Busch do it. We've seen Raja Karuth do it. They can run up front. And the 07 and the 7, assuming qualifying goes well, they are going to run this race on Friday night.
Yeah, the more I've heard you talk about it, the more I've kind of heard some other people across the industry break it down. I think McDowell and Haley probably have to be on my card, right? I think if you're betting this race, even if you're taking, a quarter unit sprinkle on both of them, 10 and 11 to 1 are really good numbers for truck guys coming down. Especially, I can remember specifically because I bet him at Atlanta last year in a Spire truck. Kyle Busch wiped the fucking floor with him, right? So I think we possibly see something similar, man. Like, these Spire trucks are always really good, and shout out to them for investing in their guys and putting their Cup Series drivers. I mean, what a way to start your year, right? I mean, you get to go out on Friday night while everyone's sitting in their camper, having a glass of Traveler's whiskey with the wife and the little one, and you get to go out and have some fucking fun with the young lads. So I like it a lot, man. I think I'm going to have to find some way to get in on McDowell and Haley, because I think you're dead on here.
Yeah, and for McDowell especially, I mean, take a look at how good that 07 truck looks. We loved it out there with Jack Daniels back in the Clint Boyer days, at least when it wasn't upside down and on fire at the end of a 500. But man, oh man, it's going to look good at the front of the field. I like you said, you're going to probably add these guys to your card because they're just brilliant bets, of course, which is why I shouted them out. But you've also got another outright and top 5 bet combo in the trucks that I'm curious to hear your argument for as well.
Yeah, so it's a guy I don't think I bet often, really at all, ever. But Tyler Ankrum, I'm taking an outright flyer on him, 15 to 1 at Caesars. Also going a little bit heavier on the top 5, plus 220 at Caesars as well. I'm going to go about 0.2 of a unit on the outright, and then 0.6 of a unit on the top 5. This is somebody who had an average start of 4.6 on super speedways in 2024, led the most laps at Atlanta after starting on the front row as well. And specifically in this Daytona race last season, Elliot, second in average position, 7.9, led 15.8% of the laps. That's the 3rd most in that race. We know Johnny Sauter kind of was hot in that race. He led the most laps, but second in driver rating, 100.2, 83.2% of laps inside the top 15. That's the 2nd most. And at Daytona, he has led laps in 5 out of 5 appearances. He started top 11 4 out of 5 times as well. He's also scored stage points in 8 out of 10 stages. So Tyler Ankrum is a guy who can find the front. He can stay out front. He's also won 2 stage 2s in his career, 2024 and 2023, the last 2 years, man. So he's been in the freaking mix. He's just got to close the deal. I think this is the race, man, where he's, finally hits the home run, finally slides in the girl's DM, takes her home. This is it, man. This is it's closing time. It's 2 a.m. Last call at the bar, baby. Shoot your shot, baby. Now or never.
Yeah, I can't blame you, though. Those are impressive stats for Ankrum, a guy that's been pretty underrated on the truck circuit. I think in the offseason when we did our truck recap or preview or whatever show with his title odds, I talked about how he's still a super young kid. He's a guy that's been around forever, but a guy who's still really nurturing his racing career, sticking with the trucks, sticking in good trucks, and he's got good teammates around him this year too. Daniel Hemrick in the 19, as well as Connor Mosak in, I think, the 81 truck. Those are 2 pretty good teammates to have who've got some, Mosak is kind of learning as well. Guys. Yeah, Mosak's learning also. Hemrick, a guy who has been there and done that, at least running week in, week out, not embarrassing himself really in any circumstance. MHR, a super underrated truck series team, I feel like still, and that really puts Ankrum in a really good position also.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be taking shots on outrights, like, I honestly, in a way, prefer the trucks because while it is always wild down here, in NASCAR's 3rd tier series, at the same time, like, you have guys like Haley and McDowell and then Ankrum who just really like stand out above the rest. While in the Xfinity Series, it feels like, at least in the outright market, I mean, you're taking shots. Like, you are firing shots back, and you might need a couple of glasses of Traveler's whiskey once again to take a couple of those shots. Man, they're not a sponsor, but maybe they will be after this program. I bet Dale Jr. is feeling pretty lubed up right now. This might be the time he's giving away money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he and Stapleton, they're going to put down some Traveler whiskey regardless of what happens, I feel like, on Sunday for making
Yeah.
that race. And in terms of how wild the Truck Series is, how can we not close it out with anything but a spin of the numbers roulette wheel? I like the bet of the winning number being under 18.5 at plus 150 over on Caesars. This gives you all the realistic, or a lot of the realistic winners, as well as some others. William Sawalich in the number 1 Tricon All-Star car. Tony Breitinger in the 5. I'm sure she's going to do great in that Canes truck. You got Justin Haley in this. You got McNasty in this in the 07. Enfinger in the 9 made the Final Four. Corey Heim, the guy who's going to win half the Truck Series schedule this year. Gio Ruggiero, who you see his numbers were big enough that I almost considered his outright, which I think was at 65-1 or something crazy like that. It was something crazy enough I thought about betting it. Plus 150. And then Ankrum also in there, among others. But the thing is, Daytona, as Talladega also, they've got the crazy winners in the Truck Series. The most realistic winners in this category are here, but the trucks are the king, like John King in 2012, who won that Daytona race for Red Horse and pretty much fell off the face of the earth after that. Trucks are the king of unrealistic winners, but if you think it's going to be a realistic winning number under 18.5, like you said, man, plus money over there on Caesars.
Plus 150. This is Elliot. I got to give you your praise, man. I mean, I'll call it like a spade. I'll call you out when you bring some bullshit to the table. This is
which I do often. I won't.
Yes, and this is maybe the hammer of the week if for a truck bet. Honestly, like to get Haley and McNasty, 2 guys that we feel really, really good about heading into this race. You also get a guy like Tyler Ankrum, who I'm high on, and then you get Corey Heim, who dominated the Truck Series, ran really well in this Daytona race. I think he finished P2 or P2 last year. Grant Enfinger, a guy who won a super speedway race towards the end of the season in a truck. This is like, who are you scared? Like, who beats you? Like who beats you? Obviously anyone can win this race, but who's beating you here? Like Majeski, that's kind of what you're afraid of, is like a Ty Majeski pretty much.
Yeah. I'm taking a look at this entry list here. First, I took a look to see that bet was still indeed there. I didn't know if maybe I missed something. It's there, and I'm looking for
okay, because they I was looking earlier and I couldn't find it. So okay,
nope, it is there. But you're right, Majeski, a guy I kind of thought about maybe even a Matt Crafton, a guy who could maybe come back, and finally claim a win there. I don't know why this entry list fell off the face of the earth here. Pulling it up now on NASCAR.com. You're right there. It feels like all of your realistic winners are in this category. Which is that's the crazy part here. I don't.
I'm pulling it up on iFantasyRace.com because
thank you, iFantasy Race. They're more well put together than the NASCAR app, which had it perfectly earlier. Now I can't find
Frankie Muniz. You got Frankie Muniz in the 33. Lane Riggs
Frankie had the longest odds of anybody to win. I love that he's out there in this 33 truck this year. Going to be sponsored by some Netflix movie with a big yellow smiley face on him. I just hope he can run all the laps. Lane Riggs and Chandler Smith, 2 big heavy hitters. Like I said, Smith was the favorite in most books. Lane Riggs somewhere around 14, 15, 16-1. His super speedway stats really didn't back that up, but I understand it.
Yeah, like Friesen could pull out a win. I'm not sure about the equipment for Kligerman, what he's running out there.
That 75 can be cheeky, that's for sure. They're not.
Yeah, you got Raja running around. You got Sauter in a Thor Sport truck. So there are guys, right? There's certainly some guys, but still, I think you're on a good side of this. Like, strength isn't in numbers with you, I don't think, but it's not too far behind. And just to kind of close out, we brought up our guy Frankie, so I have to shout out 2 things on him. He actually stars in that movie that's going to be on his car, which is awesome to see, or on his truck, excuse me. Yep. So, his acting life and his racing life kind of coming together there. And also, at the same time, Bob Pockris did an awesome interview with all the different drivers and asked them if they knew Frankie Muniz from his acting days. And it was a fun watch. It was kind of cool to have them reflect on kind of some of their childhood stuff. So I just want to shout that out because we talk a lot about Frankie. We've kind of followed his story. Got to talk to him at Pocono a couple years. So awesome to kind of see him with the Rayoum brothers racing number 33 truck this season.
Yeah, best of luck to him. We'll be keeping an eye on him all year. You know what was funny about that? Because I watched it too. Bob split it into 2 clips. The people who were kind of young enough and didn't really know him, and the people who were old enough and kind of did know him. Of course, with the truck series, a lot of new drivers, a lot of guys who, I'm watching it. Fox doesn't often do the post-race interviews as much as they'd like to. Have other programming. All the guys who knew Frankie Muniz, who were old enough, recognized every one of them. All the guys, a lot of the drivers who were too young, half of them, I had no idea who the fuck they were.
Yeah.
So I still have to learn some of these faces, especially
Yeah.
for these truck names, because some of these young kids, they come up so quick, I can't even figure out what they look like.
Yeah, absolutely. They make us look old. They make us look
Yeah.
old. And I get carded on the
They
Reggie.
look-
Let me
I
tell you
mean,
that.
Frankie's point was that Malcolm in the Middle ended in 2006, and probably
Yeah.
a third of the truck grid wasn't born yet.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Shout out Agent Cody Banks, Big Fat Liar.
Yeah.
There's some absolute bangers out there. So, dude, what a week here on the back road. Thank you everyone so much who's rode alongside with us. If you guys are new to the channel, easiest way you can support us, just like this video if you enjoy NASCAR betting content. Also, subscribe to the channel. Come back, hang out with us. We're usually live 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. You can also check out our video from last night where we went through all our best bets for the Cup Series at the Daytona 500 with our guy Rod Villagomez. And if you want more of me, you want more of Elliot, want more of Rod and our guy Ryan from iFantasyRace.com, hop into the IBT Racing family today. You're going to get entry into our memorabilia giveaways. We're giving away a Ross Chastain signed mini helmet. You can get a chance to win that next week when we do that drawing. Also, you get access to our exclusive NASCAR betting model. We swung a really hot bat at the Clash, hoping to continue that. And then you can join our Discord as well with that. And we're chatting all week long, all weekend long. And Elliot, it's been a beautiful thing, my friend.
No doubt about it. You saw in that screenshot there, that's our top 4 for the Daytona model. P3 in that model was Bubba Wallace, who won duel number 1.
Giddy up.
P4 in that model was Austin Cindric, who's outside front row, won duel number 2. Like I said, at $3.99 a month, we would certainly appreciate it if you hop in there. And like I said, the odds are going to obviously the odds are going to change a little bit post duels now that the qualifying order is set. We'll be tossing bets in that Discord. You better believe it. And we're thankful for the IBT Racing fam already in there that will continue to do so as well. Of course, best way to support us, like you said, like, subscribe, and everything like that. You can check out our cup bets from last night. Hope you enjoyed our Xfinity and Truck Series bets tonight. Thanks for rolling out on the back road with us. Next week, back at our normal time, 8:30 on Thursday, we'll do some more super speedway racing at Atlanta, riding on down the back road.
Let's go, baby.